Lu Xing's terrifying strength has risen again. Just now, Zhang Hua, Extreme Wei Martial Saint, arranged for 24 Shadow Trails and 8th level Great Grandmaster Zhuang Kuei to go and assassinate Lu Xing. While drinking coffee, Peng Huaiyu was suddenly startled. She noticed Zhang Kuei followed by a shadow from the Extreme Wei Dojo. This was a bit troublesome. Although the shadows were forcibly elevated to the strength of level 7 through the Martial Saint's secret method and were not yet Grandmasters, they could rely on the battle tactics personally crafted by the Extreme Wei Dojo. The 12 shadows even had a chance to kill a Great Grandmaster. So, without a second word, Peng Huaiyu decided to kill one first and also reported this intelligence back to Bright Jade Hall. The person on the phone was shocked. You're saying they even deployed the 12 shadows? Just as Peng Huaiyu was retreating step by step against the 12 shadows, Zhuang Kuei had already arrived at Lu Xing's doorstep. Peng Huaiyu shouted, "This is bad." The person on the phone asked, "What happened?" Extreme Wei leader Zhuang Kuei. He has stepped into the Great Grandmaster level. Zhuang Kuei, as one of the 28 lodgings leader stars, had followed the Extreme Wei Martial Saint for 20 years, yet he was always stuck at the peak of level 7, unable to break through the heaven and earth twin bridges to ascend to Great Grandmaster. But now, he had waited. Speaking, he clapped his hands and shouted loudly, "Energy and blood coalesce. Invisible twin bridges, connecting heaven and earth. Is this what it feels like to enter the Great Grandmaster level? It's awesome. It's like I've grasped the light. This feeling is too wonderful. Haha. Speaking of which, I still have to thank this Lu Xing. If it weren't for him angering the Martial Saint's wife, I wouldn't have accessed the Martial Saint's secret tome to break my chains. I hear Lu Xing is still a young Grandmaster. Even Bright Jade Hall has moved out for him. Such a tender sprout. It seems I'm going to pluck it myself today." At that moment, a pair of large feet slowly stepped forward, with Lu Xing hands in his pockets, seemingly unaware of what an opponent is. "Are you sent by the Extreme Wei Dojo?" Seeing Lu Xing come out, Zhuang Kuei ordered the shadow to go to Lu Xing's house to kill his family and stressed the importance of beheading, as the Martial Saint's wife specifically wanted to see the head. At the same time, Zhuang Kuei flew towards Lu Xing with a laser sword. "Look here, your opponent is right here." To Zhuang Kuei's horrified gaze, Lu Xing's figure disappeared, only to block in front of the shadow in the next second. The shadow fell dead. Seeing this, Lu Xing shook his head helplessly. "You guys are too weak. Only your vital energy and blood are a bit higher. Grandmaster's stance is like paper. Can this even be considered a Grandmaster?" Seeing this move instantly killed a pseudo-Grandmaster, Zhuang Kuei couldn't help but admire Lu Xing's strength. If it weren't for the current situation, he would have liked to become friends with Lu Xing. "Friends? I never make friends with the dead." Zhuang Kuei laughed. "Very good. What an arrogant kid. You're just a newly advanced little Grandmaster, while as an 8th level Great Grandmaster, I am as formidable as mountains and rivers," he said, as his lightsaber gathered a large magic circle on the ground. At this moment, that every plant and flower between heaven and earth could become his power. He couldn't wait to see Lu Xing dying at his feet. The next moment, Lu Xing began shouting. As soon as his voice fell, Lu Xing's eyes emitted lasers. For the first time, he activated the martial god form, merging all 4 Grandmaster stances. All the shadows present were immobilized. In an instant, Lu Xing slaughtered more than 20 shadows. As his voice fell, flames erupted from Lu Xing's body, and above him appeared a demonic god avatar, as if it could devour everything. Seeing all this, Zhuang Kuei was clearly frightened. "Haha, don't think you can scare me. I'm different from them. I am an 8th level Great Grandmaster." The fear in his body made him somewhat incoherent. He just thought about fighting back with all his might, but the next second he found himself struck in the chest by Lu Xing. Before he could even cry out pervert, the light sphere continued to condense until it disappeared. At this moment, Zhuang Kuei's body had been pierced through by Lu Xing with a huge hole. Until his death, he couldn't understand how his long-aspired Great Grandmaster status could end this way. Even if you are a Great Grandmaster, you are just a lousy Great Grandmaster, and I am a god you cannot surpass. This scene left Peng Huaiyu, who was watching, stunned. "Mommy, that lady with glasses looks like the fool on TV." At this moment, she was not only stunned, but even doubted she was dreaming. Is this Lu Xing? Is this what an 8th level Great Grandmaster looks like? It doesn't seem right. Feels too insubstantial, even less than half as good as Jiang He. It seems like it wasn't achieved through proper means, probably boosted by some crooked and evil methods to forcefully increase heart vital energy and blood. But this already proves that I currently have the power to crush an ordinary 8th level Great Grandmaster. After all, I haven't even used the Grandmaster's skill shattering the void yet, and it's also time to properly explore mental power. Suddenly, Lu Xing noticed Peng Huaiyu, who was in a daze. This woman must be here to help. Speaking of which, I do indeed have something that needs her help. The long-shocked Peng Huaiyu was finally awakened by a shout in her earpiece. The voice on the other end asked, "Peng Huaiyu, have you reached Lu Xing's house? What's the situation?" Peng Huaiyu simply replied, "It's terrible." "Is that so? There's nothing we can do about it. After all, we are dealing with an 8th level Great Grandmaster. Let's arrange a proper burial for Lu Xing's family later." "You got it wrong. I'm saying the people from the Extreme Wei Dojo are in a terrible state." Within 3 breaths, Lu Xing wiped out Great Grandmaster Zhuang Kuei and the 12 shadows, leaving none with an intact body. "Lu Xing seems to be saying something to me. He's asking, could Could you help me clean the floor? And all this was already known to Tan Zhongyu on the other end of the phone. This Lu Xing is becoming more and more interesting. In the following 2 days, Lu Xing saw no one from the Extreme Way Dojo seeking revenge. Just as Lu Xing was puzzled, the Vice-Chancellor called. It's okay now, Lu Xing. Tan Martial Saint has made it clear to me that the issue with the Extreme Way Dojo has been settled, and they won't bother you anymore. Lu Xing thought it was Tan Zhongyu who had mediated, but the Vice-Chancellor said that was unlikely. According to his understanding of Tan Zhongyu, managing to send someone from Bright Jade Hall to help you once was already the limit. The Vice-Chancellor also suggested that Lu Xing should go to the capital to certify his Grandmaster status when he has time. Being a young Grandmaster is a tremendous honor indeed. Lu Xing said he would consider certifying it when he goes to pick up his diploma. Holy shit, so the woman with glasses wasn't specifically here to sweep the floor. However, this sudden resolution left Lu Xing a bit puzzled. After all, if you hit the small ones, the big ones will come. According to the character of the Extreme Way Dojo, there should be more severe retaliation by now. Just then, Chief Commander Yu called. It turns out this settlement was mediated by Chief Commander Yu. Ha ha ha, you're quite something. Not even 20 and already you've killed enough Grandmasters to make a dozen. Plus, you even slaughtered an Extreme Way leader star. Don't hold a grudge against me for that slap I gave you before. Lu Xing didn't expect the news to reach the military district so quickly. Ha ha ha, you even scared the tail that was on you then. How could I not know? Killing an 8th level Great Grandmaster, really something. That person used a forbidden technique to forcibly elevate his power. His strength isn't worth mentioning. Since it was the military district that intervened, this must have cost a lot. Chief Commander Yu was silent for a moment and didn't speak. There is a cost, of course, but it's not as big as you think. Don't feel pressured. The military deals with many cases like yours every year. Lu Xing, do you know of the existing 3 Martial Saint powerhouses in Dragon Nation? None came from the military. You understand what I'm implying? Lu Xing was also silent for a while. He clearly understood that the military was trying to recruit him. I understand. Don't worry, Chief Commander Yu. When I become a Martial Saint, I'll make sure to promote you well. This ending was more smooth than Lu Xing expected. After this incident with the Extreme Way Dojo, the military now considered Lu Xing one of their own. Through 100 battles in the yellow sand wearing golden armor, not returning until Lulan is unbroken. The military, that's where the romance for men is. Lu Xing looked at the scroll under his feet. Could this be the forbidden technique scroll used by Zhuang Kuei? But the next moment, he threw the scroll into the trash can. This kind of meaningless thing, you can find thousands just by touching around in the dream space. It's been quite a while since I've entered the dream space myself. I've been busy with other things and seldom come here. Hee. Today everyone has a day off. No fighting, ha. Upon arriving in the dream space, Lu Xing first checks the information. With a burst of light, this time not only did Lu Xing's lifespan increase, but his martial arts strength also reached beyond 9th level Martial Saint. Next, the same process follows. At the Martial Arts Conference, he kills Extreme Way Dojo Grandmaster Lian Jibei, then an 8th level Great Grandmaster. That same year, he enters the Eastern Military District, advances to 8th level Great Grandmaster at 35, then to 9th level Martial Saint at 45, and at 50 he slays Extreme Way Dojo's Xiao Ji. The same year he battles Martial Saint Tan Zhongyu and Transcendence Martial Saint, winning both fights. Later, at 60, he travels the world, defeating all the world's Martial Saints. Regarded as the strongest under the heavens and rated as one of the top 10 outstanding Martial Saints in 3,000 years of martial arts, Lu Xing made significant contributions to the exploration of the path to level 10. It seems this time isn't bad. Above 9th level should be stronger than 9th level, yet still not quite at level 10. The path to level 10 was only opened 3,000 years later last time. This life it will be opened by me, Lu Xing. By then, the path ahead will already be open, and the seed resource repository won't be so important anymore. Then naturally, countless martial arts geniuses will bravely move forward, sparking more stunning martial arts techniques through their inspiration. As for killing the Extreme Way Martial Saint, it's my style. The losses I've suffered will sooner or later be reclaimed. Then, Lu Xing checks his permissions, which have now reached level 7. This time, he can also initiate the 8th level Great Grandmaster's techniques. He immediately inquires about the subsequent techniques for Stellar Body Refinement Technique, Natural Breathing Method, and Crystal Observance Method, comprehending the world's strongest technique, Eternal Star Indestructible Technique. The key to advancing from level 6 to level 7 is to condense martial will, fusing spirit, energy, and soul into one furnace, and then reflecting it back to the body, further enhancing physical strength. To progress from level 7 to level 8 requires more depth, not just martial will, but also breaking the earth bridge of the physical body, transforming vital energy in blood, coagulating blood into an elixir, and instantly transforming from a mortal into a growing being. At that point, martial will can be condensed like a spear, piercing through the heaven bridge, thus connecting with nature, allowing the martial will to infuse every inch of the body, with every movement containing a trace of the natural force between heaven and earth, vastly surpassing the power of level 7. So, this is the difference between levels 7 and 8. This was exactly what Zhuang Kuei lacked. he forcibly stimulated his body to elevate, which had fundamental flaws, so he could not truly be considered a legitimate 8th-level Great Grandmaster. However, Lu Xing always felt he might have missed something, then suddenly got a shock. It turns out, the true inheritance of the stellar body refinement technique is the concept of immortal cells, using one's own vital energy and blood to nourish the physical body. To achieve the true state of eternal stars do not perish. I do not perish. All things decay. I do not decay. Only in this way can I be worthy of advancing to level 8, and only this is the physical strength I, Lu Xing, seek. The reason I am stronger than an ordinary Grandmaster is that I possess an immortal golden body. At level 7, I could match, or even surpass, an 8th-level Great Grandmaster like Jiang He in physical strength. Therefore, the first task in practicing the Eternal Star Indestructible technique is to shatter the core. After shattering the core, the vast vital energy and blood and martial will together nurture an immortal cell. When I first encountered the stellar body refinement technique and practiced the immortal golden body, I thought the metaphor of striking with the force of a star was an exaggeration, just a martial aspiration, similar to how some compare a 9th-level martial saint to the sun and moon in the sky. Can a martial saint truly shine alongside the sun and moon? But now, the Eternal Star Indestructible technique has turned this impossibility into a possibility, bringing myth into reality, personally proving immortality. If the divine illumination of the Underworld King scripture represents the pinnacle of intricate mastery, then immortal cells represent grandeur to the extreme. If one could transform all body cells into immortal ones, one could truly exist alongside heaven, master the stars, and reach the heights of immortality. Even Wang He might not have reached that realm. This is a more colossal project than the divine illumination of the Underworld King scripture. And the biggest problem is the resources needed for irrigation. By calculation, it seems that even swallowing a whole planet wouldn't be enough. But regardless, this is an almost invincible technique. Just one immortal cell could make my body like a transcendence-level Great Grandmaster. 2 would push horizontally, and 3 would make 1 outright invincible. Immediately, Lu Xing began his path to immortality. After all, in the dream space, even if something bizarre is refined, it has little impact on reality. However, this thing supports all the vital energy and blood in my body. Should I really smash it directly? Just as Lu Xing was about to lift his hand, he hesitated for a moment, his heart skipping a beat. Forget it. Let's treat a dead horse as if it were alive. The core inside his body cracked open, tearing at Lu Xing's flesh madly, causing him to cry out in pain. The next moment, an ice blue avatar appeared above Lu Xing, and then the avatar placed its hand on Lu Xing's head, helping to soothe his body's energy. Afterwards, the scattered energy reconverged in Lu Xing's brain, continuously compressing and recombining. Suddenly, a beam of light shot out in front of Lu Xing. With a gentle lift of his hand, it seemed to possess countless strengths. Lu Xing punched towards the ground, and in an instant, thunder flashed and lightning filled the sky, accompanying Lu Xing's fist as it fell, turning the entire city into even greater ruins. Lu Xing incredulously watched everything before him. Is this the power of immortal cells? That punch just now used only a small part of my strength, yet it far exceeded the power of any punch I've thrown before. The previous strikes like stellar one-hit fierce energy, vital energy, and blood stellar force, as well as stellar grip and the 4 realms fist technique were all fused in this one punch. This ultimate power and exquisite finesse. Lu Xing named it Heaven's Grasp. Saying this, Lu Xing closed his eyes and collapsed to the ground. He hadn't expected that just forming one immortal cell would leave him completely drained, mainly due to his own vital energy and blood deficiency. It seems I need to acquire more resources, but it's also time to prepare to head to the Eastern Military District, where the fields of wild beasts on the battlefield, with their dangers, also represent wealth, perfectly suited to fill the bottomless pit of the immortal cells. Speaking of which, one is so powerful already. If I had 10 immortal cells, could I fight a martial saint with my level 7 body? What about 100? Could I beat the shit out of Extreme Way Martial Saint? Just thinking about Extreme Way Martial Saint's shit scattered all over the place makes Lu Xing laugh non-stop. When Lu Xing woke up, it was already the afternoon of the next day. He hadn't expected to sleep for 12 hours. Immediately, Lu Xing activated his mental power sensing. Dad was comfortably playing chess, sister was practicing, and mom was cooking. The family spent a peaceful afternoon. It seems unlikely that Extreme Way Martial Saint would persist in a death match over those 2 trashy relatives. Ultimately, there has to be some decency. As for his crazy woman Lian Su, that's harder to say, so it's still necessary to nip the crisis in the bud. Just as Lu Xing was about to leave the house, he saw his second wife, Ling Su, giving a speech on TV about the launch of a new medicine. It seems he hasn't seen her in a long time. He decides to meet her first. Lu Xing arrives at the Hall of Benevolence. The moment he walked in, the receptionist, upon seeing Lu Xing's strikingly handsome appearance, literally drooled 2 tons. Seeing the daydreaming girl, Lu Xing immediately asked, "Where's Ling Su?" Just as the girl was shocked by Lu Xing's bold address, Lu Xing walked straight into the office. A person with blue hair told the girl not to meddle, explaining that this handsome guy is Bossy's distant cousin, not only good-looking but also incredibly strong, the national champion of the Ascending Dragon martial examination. The girl looked disappointed, realizing she had no chance and could only buy a little trinket to fantasize about. Just as he entered, Lu Sheng saw Lingsu adjusting some concoctions. Upon seeing Lu Sheng, she stepped back, handed over the task to him, and mentioned that all the ordered medicinal materials were ready. After praising her briefly, Lu Sheng donned a lab coat, ready to start working, and mentioned that he would help Lingsu deal with her mother's troublemakers after finishing his current tasks. Watching Lu Sheng's casual tone, Lingsu felt that Lu Sheng had become even stronger. My goodness, how much time has passed? Can someone really improve so much in their martial arts level within a year? Soon, Lu Sheng threw all the medicinal materials into the air. The next moment, all the materials merged together, and after 2 minutes of fusion, Lu Sheng successfully concocted a special potion. Without hesitation, he downed the entire bottle. As the golden liquid flowed into his organs, the next moment, Lu Sheng's eyes widened dramatically. Here it comes. That's the feeling I wanted. Unexpectedly, after the elixir shattered, it could be recondensed. However, just these materials have cost him several hundred million. If all could be replaced with immortal cells, the cost would likely be an astronomical figure. Although Lingsu's side earns $1 billion or so each year, it's still not enough. It's said that once you have the strength, money on the battlefield is like picking it up yourself. Saying this, Lu Sheng immediately headed out the door. Soon, Lu Sheng arrived at the airport waiting lounge. But oddly enough, Chief Commander Yu seemed very busy, and the original plan to have Dong Qingxue and Qin Shaojun come to pick up Lu Sheng was changed. Could it be that the front line has run into some major trouble? Lu Sheng glanced around at the cheerful laughter, reflecting on how the present beauty was bought with the lives and blood of frontline soldiers, and he would certainly defend this peace to the end. In the dream, he learned that there seemed to be many dense gold mines in the Eastern Military District yet to be excavated. It seems that if he wants to acquire great wealth quickly, he might have to become a miner, since he's somewhat experienced at it. Soon, 2 airplanes landed at the airport. 1 passenger plane, 1 fighter jet. Why is there a fighter jet here? Could there be some urgent special mission? Just as he was about to board, Lu Sheng accidentally bumped into 2 girls. Upon seeing a handsome guy, the 2 female students couldn't help but strike up a conversation and invited Lu Sheng to sit next to them. Lu Sheng responded with a smile. The plane I'm taking is different from yours. Young man, you're really funny. We wouldn't mind if you just want to reject us. No need to come up with such an outrageous lie. As the cockpit cover of the fighter jet slowly opened, the pilot waved in their direction. That person is actually waving at us. What's going on? Oh no, that fighter jet is really here to pick up that handsome guy. My goodness. The person who came to pick up Lu Sheng was none other than Qin Huaihu, under Major General Yu Fei of the Eastern War Zone's 1182nd Division, and also Qin Shaojun's uncle, holding a higher rank than Dong Qingxue and the others. When Lu Sheng asked why Dong Qingxue and the others didn't come to pick him up, Qin Huaihu explained, "We're not going back to the military district right now because a new cellar fracture has appeared recently, and the front line is very tense. The chief commander has already gone to fight. Our team is also preparing to go there to reinforce, and will depart immediately after picking you up." I thought these words would shock Lu Sheng a bit, but Lu Sheng just casually asked, "How long will it take to get there?" Could this be the confidence of a young grandmaster? Qin Huaihu wondered to himself, recalling his own years of fighting on the battlefield, only reaching the peak of level 6 and not even touching the threshold of grandmaster. Past his 50s, he might never reach grandmaster in his lifetime. Lu Sheng asked the commander to briefly describe the current situation. The front line in the Eastern Military District has always been tense, although it has eased somewhat in the last 2 years. But recently, a new cavern that could reach Class A has appeared, making the situation very bad, possibly causing the entire Eastern region's front line to move back. Lu Sheng really didn't expect that even a cavern could have levels. Apparently, a classic cavern always contains at least level 5 exotic beasts, and deeper inside it's unimaginable. The strongest, Class 3S caverns, there are only a few known to humanity worldwide, but fortunately, there are none within Dragon Nation's borders. However, even an 8th level Great Grandmaster entering a Class A cavern faces the risk of falling, a strength Lu Sheng had not anticipated. So you mean to say, those Class S and above caverns, wouldn't even a 9th level martial saint have difficulty coming out? Technically, yes, but generally, no one goes deep into the deepest parts of a cavern. As long as you don't venture too deep, even a regular level 5 or 6 martial artist could survive in a Class A cavern. In fact, most people don't need to enter the cavern at all. They just need to stay around it and clear out the exotic beasts that run out. It seems this thing is just like playing a dungeon in a game. As long as you don't think about clearing it, there's no danger. If I could completely clear a Class 3S cavern, maybe I could uncover the true nature of the exotic beast invasion. As soon as you join the army, you should at least be given the rank of Major General, since Lu Sheng is not only a rising brightness general star, but also a grandmaster. If you show exceptional military talent, you could even pursue a path as a corps commander. The commander mused, saying, "Recently, several Class SS caverns have repeatedly seen exotic beast riots. Based on predictions, there could be a trend toward evolving into Class 3S. Are we starting to see Class 3S in our Dragon Nation? It feels like my current strength isn't quite up to entering yet." Just then, again. The pilot suddenly shouted, "Report, we've received a request for support from Chief Commander Yu. Their defensive line has encountered a level 7 exotic beast." However, at this moment, Lu Sheng was most concerned about his wife Dong Qingxue. He asked, "Is Chief Commander Yu far from here?" The commander replied, "It's only a 2-minute journey from here." Under the commander's astonished gaze, Lu Sheng slowly opened the airplane door and asked the commander for a pair of durable leather shoes. After all, jumping down will be faster. However, half an hour earlier, within Chief Commander Yu's defensive line, facing a swarm of exotic beasts, under Yu Fei's leadership, they were swiftly annihilated. Finally, after the squad's brave fight, all the exotic beasts at the defensive line were wiped out. A younger brother hurriedly handed over water to celebrate. Yu Fei asked, "Has our reinforcement arrived?" "The reinforcement from General Star Squad is most urgent. We can't do without high-end combat power." But the military department's reply was to hold on for another 2 days. Other General Star Squads would come to support within at most 2 days. This angered Yu Fei, who slammed his fist down. 2 days. Most of the exotic beasts appearing now are level 5 and 6. These levels of defense lines can barely hold off. But if level 7 or even level 8 come, then we're done for. Dong Qingshua's mental power seemed to have strengthened a lot. After cleaning up the exotic beasts on the east side, the two slowly walked towards the chief commander. These days, they still had to thank these two for coming to support. If it had been just Chief Commander Yu, it might not have lasted so many days. After all, both are now at the peak of level 6. As long as Chief Commander Yu holds off that level 7 exotic beast, the rest will not be a problem. According to their current plan and pace, holding on for another 2 days won't be much of an issue. Suddenly, the ground started shaking. Yu Fei suddenly shouted, "Not good. This tremor is coming from the cavern." Then 3 exotic beasts burst forth from the ground. Damn, those are actually 3 level 7 exotic beasts. Qin Xiaojun was so scared he became constipated. 3 at once. How are we supposed to live? We're doomed. The morale that had just been rallied was now utterly destroyed. If there had been only one, Yu Fei could have coordinated with all the instructors to kill it. But level 7 exotic beasts choose to self-destruct when facing death, causing massive damage. But now there are 3. Am I really going to die here today? Yu Fei gripped his knife handle and roared loudly, "Brothers, don't think too much. Just do it. Tank firepower suppression. Attack at all costs." 2 minutes later, Qin Xiaojun spat out a mouthful of grape juice, obviously suffering from internal injuries from the backlash. Had I known there were 3 level 7s, I wouldn't have charged so hard earlier. Now I'm completely drained. At that moment, he also noticed that something was off with Dong Qingshua's face. "Why do your eyes look like a rabbit's? Got conjunctivitis?" "Fuck off. I'm just mentally overdrawn. Ha ha ha. I heard that kid Lu Sheng is coming over these days." Imagine, he arrives at the military district all excited to see us, but ends up finding 2 corpses. Would he be shocked on the spot? Qin Xiaojun, the less you talk, the greater our chance of surviving. Ha ha ha. All right, I'll shut up. After all, we're still alive right now. Qin Xiaojun laughed. As they spoke, Chief Commander Yu raised his great sword, ready to lead all the soldiers in a fierce attack. Everyone was stunned as they looked at the meteor in the sky. What the hell is that? At that moment, Dong Qingxue, who possesses great mental power, blushed furiously. She never expected to meet Lu Sheng in such a way. Seeing this, Qin Xiaojun quickly asked, "Who is that show-off?" But Dong Qingxue was so flustered she started shouting, because Lu Sheng's landing spot was right in the middle of the 3 exotic beasts. Within the fireball, Lu Sheng's mouth curled slightly upward, a scene that shocked Chief Commander Yu. In the previously imposing giant bugs, dead silence, lay on the ground. Amidst the thick smoke, a pair of large feet stepped out, Lu Sheng's body shimmering with golden light, like a god of slaughter. These military boots are really durable. Seeing its companion killed by Lu Sheng sitting on it, the gorilla was dumbfounded. "Yo-ho, no need to panic, you're next." Seeing this, the gorilla went berserk. Lu Sheng just put his hands in his pockets, as if he had no idea what an opponent was. However, Lu Sheng caught it with just one hand, and said indifferently, "Alright, now take another kick from me." "Holy shit," Qin Xiaojun exclaimed, unable to believe his eyes. It seemed like something out of a movie, but this guy seems to have gotten even stronger. Dong Qingshua's lips curled up in pride. "Alright, you're the last one." The giant mantis was so scared it wet itself. It was well aware of its strength and knew it would be instantly killed by the person before it. The next moment, a golden suction force tugged at it. "Little bug, a guest comes from afar, and since you've come, don't think about leaving." A golden energy held its body in place above, unable to move. Lightning sliced through the mantis's body like blades. Subsequently, Lu Sheng landed on the group of exotic beasts below. "Friends come from afar. No need for you to go back." Just a single encounter, and the group of exotic beasts below turned instantly to ashes. After everything was settled, Lu Sheng slowly descended in front of everyone. "New recruit Lu Sheng, reporting for duty." Everyone was too shocked to speak. New recruit wasn't wrong, but why did it feel so odd? Ah, very well. A fine new recruit indeed. The next moment, Lu Sheng was taken back to the Eastern War Zone base. "Lu Sheng, we really owe you one today. If not for you, those 3 level 7 exotic beasts would have doomed us, and we probably couldn't have held the line." Lu Sheng was puzzled. Is a Class A cavern really this dangerous? level 7 exotic beasts appearing right at the entrance? Dong Qingxue slowly spoke up. This cavern must be at least class 3A, otherwise it wouldn't be so outrageous. Generally, a new cavern has a burst period when it first appears, and it stabilizes after that burst period. I heard you killed a great Grandmaster's leader star, and I could hardly believe it. Now I'm totally convinced. You've got the strength to aim for the general star ranking, probably even make it into the top 50. Why is there suddenly another ranking list? Isn't it the same as the old rankings? Chief Commander, you explained. It's a bit different. This one not only considers strength but also merits and contributions, and so on. The exotic beasts you killed today can be converted into contribution points, which you can later exchange for resources at the military department. Saying this, Chief Commander, you said he needed to go rest for a while. The next half-month could erupt with an even bigger wave of beasts at any time. Lu Xing hadn't expected to tire out a level 7 Grandmaster. You can imagine how tough the fighting has been lately. However, he himself, sustained by immortal cells, along with the natural breathing method and fierce energy, almost never runs out of stamina. Just that his stomach was getting hungry, rumbling away. Qin Xiaojun then took Lu Xing out for a big meal, to which Lu Xing was immediately disappointed. This is the big meal you talked about? Qin Xiaojun explained. On the front lines, we make do with what we have. Wait until we get back to the military district to have a good meal. Meanwhile, Dong Qingshua's gaze kept drifting towards Lu Sheng. The next moment, their eyes met, and it was like electricity. Both of their faces turned red. Thinking that Dong Qingxue would be his future wife, Lu Sheng's face flushed even redder. To avoid the awkwardness, he quickly ate his fill and left. What's going on? I heard before that when Lu Sheng was retaliated against by a great grandmaster, you couldn't wait to rush over to him, but now that he's right in front of you, you don't say a word. Speaking, Qin Xiaojun assumed a knowing look. Oh my, I say Dong Qingxue, could it be that you really like? The next second, a plate of food smashed right into Qin Xiaojun's face. After Lu Sheng left, he headed to the deep mountains outside where the battlefront seemed relaxed, probably because they had killed a lot during the day. However, through his senses, he could feel that far away there was continuous artillery fire and unending combat sounds. Since I can't sleep anyway, maybe I should go have a look over there. The surrounding area was embroiled in intense battle, many soldiers bearing severe injuries, yet gritting their teeth and holding the line. Exotic beasts came in waves, seemingly endless. Hearing a giant axe planted in the ground. Alright, didn't we foresee this end when we entered the battlefield? Why sulk? If worst comes to worst, we'll come back in 18 years. The soldiers were inspired by the chief commander's words, and even the Grandmaster level General Star was here. They couldn't just give up easily. In the midst of this conversation, a purple explosion erupted in front. The red-haired chief commander was shocked. It's a level 7 double-headed shadow leopard. Before she could recover from her shock, the shadow leopard had already pounced towards her. As a battle enthusiast, the red-haired was quite excited. Bring it on. I was just missing some appetizers for my drink. With swift elusive steps, she darted in front of the shadow leopard with her battle axe. But the next moment, the other shadow leopard instantly blinked behind her and struck her hard. The red-haired hadn't expected that there was another leopard. Her proud skills had no effect on it. Moreover, what she hadn't expected at all was that the double-headed shadow leopards were actually a male and a female. At that moment, the red-haired's will to fight was completely shattered. No matter what, she couldn't possibly match two double-headed shadow leopards. She was exhausted now, slowly waiting for death to come. All she could hear were the faint cries of her subordinates. The next moment, there was a loud sound in the sky, and Lu Xing made a dazzling re-entry. His spear smashed directly into the heads of one of the shadow leopards. This scene stunned the red-haired. Lu Xing slowly pulled out his flaming spear. That was close. Glad I made it in time. The stunned double-headed shadow leopard pretended to be dead on one side while slowly spreading its three-clawed tail on the other, and then, unexpectedly, it struck at Lu Sheng. Frightened, Red Hair shouted, "Lu Sheng, watch out!" Lu Sheng planted his feet into the leopard's skull, and then a burst of lightning energy emanated. Be quiet. You hear me? Frightened, the leopard's initially sneaky tail halted abruptly. The meat of a level 7 exotic beast is quite delicious. It would be a shame to smash it, especially since I just completely obliterated the other one with too much force. Speaking, Lu Sheng posed an orchid finger on its head, and the next moment, he executed a stellar skull smash. Instantly, a powerful flame condensed from his fingertip, piercing through the leopard's forehead. This scene left Red Hair utterly stunned. Lu Sheng then tied up the leopard. Alright, job well done. We can take it back for soup. Next, all that was needed was to clean up the surrounding level 5 and 6 riffraff. The next second, Lu Sheng's eyes emitted a golden light, and a powerful aura of immortality emerged around him. Wherever the flames swept, exotic beast corpses littered the ground, turned to ashes and smoke. Red Hair almost thought she was dreaming, unable to comprehend how such a formidable man suddenly appeared. And throughout the night, Lu Sheng wandered among the various military camps, helping to resolve exotic beast issues along the defenses. But now he had also almost made a full round near the cavern. The next moment, inside Yufei's military camp, Yufei was bewilderedly listening to the phone about Lu Sheng's actions. Just then, Lu Sheng walked into the tent in tattered clothes. Yufei, startled, dropped his cup and hastily asked, "Lu Sheng, have you been been killing exotic beasts all night?" Lu Sheng said. "I probably killed quite a few level 7s, 12 or 18, I forgot. As for the level 6s, I didn't count them. The only pity is that I couldn't bring back the bodies. After all, I went around the whole area. If I had brought back all the level 7 exotic beast bodies, that would have been too cumbersome. As for those young lives lost on the battlefield, I can only do my best to take care of them. Can't cover everything. I really did my best." Nearly flipped over the nearby exotic beasts' nests, Yu Fei mentioned that every front line has black box recordings, and later on, the battle merits will naturally be added to Lu Sheng's record. However, Yu Fei immediately proposed to apply for a professional satellite phone for Lu Sheng. After all, Lu Sheng is from our 1182nd Division. Rescue is rescue, but we need to take care of our own side first. If there's a situation here, we need to be able to communicate immediately. Thinking of this, Yu Fei felt that the best decision he ever made in his life was to continuously increase the supply of exotic marrow fluid. Who could have imagined that the kid from back then would evolve into today's achievements? Meanwhile, in the military headquarters conference room, an intelligence officer reported the heavy casualties from Cavern 2. As of today, the casualties among regular soldiers have reached 15,200. Non-commissioned officer casualties are 320, including 8 level 7 general stars and 1 level 8 general star fallen. Hearing this, General Goldenhair was greatly shocked and quickly asked who it was. The reporter said it was Jing Wei, 28th on the general star list. Upon hearing this, General Goldenhair instructed that his funeral be held with the honors of a general, and he himself would attend personally. He was deeply upset, considering the entire military only had 30 great grandmasters, and now they were one fewer. He inquired again about the situation in the new cavern. The situation in the new cavern is also not optimistic. All the defensive lines are now requesting aid. The stream of exotic beasts from the cavern is unending. Our forces may soon be entirely overrun. Hearing this, the general pointed to the 8-Point Mountains. This is the most critical gap. It must be reinforced first. The glasses-wearing assistant said. B-Point is equally important. Once breached, all routes may fall. Hadn't the marshal considered that? It's just that Point B is far from residential areas, with a wide middle zone, so even if the defense line collapses, it can gradually be recollected. But Point A is different. Once breached, exotic beasts could invade the nearest Changyuan city within half a month. Therefore, defending the homeland must be the top priority. Upon hearing this, everyone nodded in agreement. Then the marshal asked, which division is currently stationed at Point A? The man with glasses responded, it's the 1058 Division, commanded by Major General Sun Jie. The marshal immediately issued a strict order for Sun Jie's corps to hold the line even if it meant fighting to the last soldier. The other front lines could choose to defend selectively, and if necessary, they could abandon their positions and retreat to support Point A. Inside the 1182 Division's position, Yu Fei was anxiously pacing back and forth. They had been applying for additional combat support from higher-ups for several days, but there had been no response. Lu Sheng asked, is it because the other front lines are under heavy pressure lately, to the point that even the new cavern can't spare any personnel? Yu Fei responded, the reinforcements have not stopped, but there's a lack of high-end combat power like General Star level. After all, you know how terrifying a level 7 exotic beast is. But then he quickly corrected himself, thinking of Lu Sheng's monstrous strength. This guy wouldn't know. He's really a freak. For 5 consecutive days, Lu Sheng roamed various front lines, returning each day covered in blood. Even after cleaning, his body was still visibly shrouded in blood. Just under a week on the battlefield, and his vital energy and blood was far more formidable than that of old soldiers who had fought for 4 or 5 years. Truly a demon dragon of chaos. Lu Sheng got up, ready for today's combat. Just stepping out of the tent, he was startled by the scene before him. He saw several officers saluting him in unison, congratulating Lu Sheng on his continued good fortune in battle and his return from yet another great fight. After all, Lu Sheng was now the idol of the entire 1182 Division. Their admiration for him was no less than that for their chief commander. Of course, the #1 fan in the crowd was Dong Qingxue. However, her cold attitude in recent days puzzled Lu Sheng, making him feel like he had done something wrong. Speaking of which, Lu Sheng pulled 2 jade pendants out of his pocket, gifts he had prepared early but hadn't managed to give out even after 5 days. Just then, Qin Xiaojun came over and said, big hero, heading out again? Seeing this, Lu Sheng immediately handed the jade pendant he was holding to Qin Xiaojun. Lu Sheng explained that these were gifts prepared for him and Dong Qingxue. As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Sheng disappeared on the spot using a teleportation technique, leaving Qin Xiaojun dumbfounded. Did Lu Sheng make these himself? He really put thought into it. The next moment, a swift hand swooped in and snatched one of the jade pendants. This sudden act infuriated Qin Xiaojun, who cursed behind his back, but Dong Qingxue, holding the jade pendant, just stood there quietly, her proud face flushed with a hint of red. Meanwhile, Lu Sheng had already arrived at a battlefield, immediately activating his mental senses. This defense line had already been invaded by exotic beasts, and a soldier was firing at them with a special machine gun. However, the scene seemingly powerful Gatling gun was only tickling the exotic beast's skin, and even this seemingly ineffective equipment had run out of bullets. The soldier seemed to make a decision, threw away his gun, and became a human bomb charging towards the exotic beasts. Even if he couldn't take them down with him, he could at least make them lose some hair. The next moment, he realized he couldn't move, and then a pair of large feet appeared. "Don't give up on life so easily," Lu Sheng said, his gaze intense. Although he was in awe of the soldier's determination, he still needed to protect his life. A terrifying presence emanated. "Shut up." The exotic beasts in front were so frightened that they lost control of their bowels. All three exotic beasts were decapitated. The soldier was shocked as if he were eating shit. The three level 6 exotic beasts instantly killed by the young man before him. He immediately saluted Lu Sheng. "Colonel Lu Yiqing of the 835th Division, at your service, sir. So young and yet so powerful. He's sure to be a general star in the future. We need to get on his good side early." However, Lu Sheng remembers that the 835th Division is a long-line defense force adjacent to the 1182nd Division, and in terms of equipment strength and martial arts prowess, they are stronger than Chief Commander Yu's forces. What he didn't understand was why the 835th Division would be here. Could it be that the front line has extended? Lu Yiqing anxiously explained, "It's not that the front line has extended, but that it has already been broken." Hearing this, Lu Sheng exclaimed, "How can this be?" Hearing this, Lu Sheng once again activated his soul perception, scaring the young man beside him yet again. At this moment, he felt like there were no secrets from Lu Sheng, who could see right through even their souls. 2 minutes later, Lu Sheng slowly opened his eyes, his expression somber. He asked, "Does the military know the defense line has collapsed, and why haven't they sent reinforcements?" The young man trembled as he replied, "The military kept saying reinforcements were on the way. We've been waiting until now, but instead, we received an order to retreat. Since there's an order to retreat, why did you choose to stay here alone?" The young man said, "The chief commander didn't leave, so we didn't either. We thought it'd be good to kill one more exotic beast before dying. It doesn't matter where we die. We thought we'd just accompany the chief commander." Lu Sheng continued to ask, "What would be the consequences if this defense line breaks?" The young man answered, "If we can't promptly return to clear the surging exotic beasts, then everyone in this city will die." This truly frightened Lu Sheng. The lives of an entire city were at stake. Lu Sheng turned to leave and told the young man to leave quickly. Seeing the direction Lu Sheng was heading, the young man was startled. "Sir, you're going the wrong way. That's the war zone, an endless onslaught of exotic beasts." "No matter, I'll go and see. Perhaps I can remedy the situation." How can he possibly remedy this? Just him alone. As Lu Sheng activated his soul perception and leapt forward at high speed, he said, "Quickly, it seems the defense line is just ahead." Suddenly, an unusual perception startled Lu Sheng. He saw countless exotic beasts ahead, all standing and roaring towards the sky. "Holy crap, the sheer number is making my scalp tingle." But it seemed there were still human survivors in the midst of the exotic beasts. At that moment, several people lay on a tank, cursing angrily, "These damn beasts, the more we kill, the more they come. Now their chief commander is dead too. We're out of options. Just have to keep killing. We've just made enough for the chief commander. Now killing one more means pure profit." As they spoke, several bombs were thrown out. Watching a few small creatures die, an old man revealed an excited, wicked smile. A burly man picked up a submachine gun. "You're right. Fuck it. Just do it. We've prepared enough explosives to level this place, ensuring everyone leaves comfortably, leaving not a trace for these beasts. We need to hurry. Old Town might not last much longer." The next moment, a fireball blew off one of the bearded man's hands. The old man shouted, "Big beard." In his anger, he kept throwing more bombs. "Damn it, I'll blow you beasts to death." Soon, what was once a full stash of explosives was now empty. "Chief Commander, looks like we're about to join you," said the old man as he pulled a remote control from under his trousers. "Come on, brothers, we leave nothing for them. Let them go back hungry." Just then, a strong wind picked up. "Holy shit, it's getting windy." A blue wind grew stronger and began swirling in front of them. Shortly afterward, a pair of large feet slowly stepped forward. "Are you guys okay? Anyone who can still move, start retreating to the back." Seeing this, the old man cried tears of joy. "It's the reinforcements. The reinforcements have finally arrived. Looks like we're not going to die. Any brothers who aren't dead yet, get up and retreat to the back." "Great, the reinforcements are here," several people shouted excitedly. Lu Sheng transformed back into a whirlwind and flew straight towards the group of exotic beasts. However, the people fleeing in surprise discovered that this so-called reinforcement was just one person. "What's going on? Why is it only him?" However, at that moment, various explosions erupted in the midst of the exotic beast group, with countless beasts falling en masse. The old man was astounded. "I feel like he's doing pretty well by himself, isn't he?" Although dealing with these levels of exotic beasts poses no pressure for Lu Sheng, the sheer number of them is overwhelming, feeling like they can never all be killed. Even after eliminating one group, another endless stream of exotic beasts comes to replace them. "If that's the case, then I'll have to pull out the big guns." As he spoke, an avatar of a female warrior appeared behind Lu Sheng. "Come on, it's been a while since I've used this move." Cold Halberd Bird Hell. With a burst of ice and fire energy descending from the sky, the group of exotic beasts beasts below were instantly decimated. This is the improved version of ice and fire dual extremes. It's not just about enhancing the control ability of a single element, it can even control multiple elements simultaneously, which is where the true power of the natural breathing method lies. What a thrill! These low-level exotic beasts, no matter how many come, I kill as many. As he spoke, Lu Xing once again used the thunder breathing and fire breathing techniques, causing successive deaths among the exotic beasts in another area. The surrounding elemental energy crazily surged towards Lu Xing's body. Scum, all of you get back. This scene left the old man watching the battle so shocked that he nearly went bald. This is really off the charts. Hasn't this guy been fighting for 3 days and 3 nights? How can he seem like he never runs out of energy? However, at this point, there were clearly far fewer exotic beasts, and like the sun, the beasts were like moths to a flame. After days of combat, Lu Xing's great grandmaster blood pill had thinned considerably, and the death toll of exotic beasts had reached a terrifying number. The only pity is that there are so many exotic beast corpses, yet I have no means to extract the beast marrow fluid. If there were ample resources combined with endless pressure for stimulation, the yield could be immensely rich. However, this battle was not in vain, as Lu Xing has now broken through his limits, entering an unparalleled state, able to simultaneously utilize Grandmaster Will and various elemental abilities, boosting his combat effectiveness to a whole new level. This is the complete martial path that Lu Xing pursues. Just then, Yu Fei's voice came through the headset. While fighting, Lu Xing responded, received. Lu Xing reported that he was currently on a battlefield. The situation was quite intense, and he asked Yu Fei for a few days off. After all, how could I leave such a great leveling spot? Hearing this, Yu Fei said it was not a big problem. His front could still manage, but he finally warned Lu Xing about a beast surge in the western battlefield, advising Lu Xing not to go there. It's very dangerous. Chief Commander, no problem. Don't worry, I'm very obedient. After hanging up the phone, Lu Xing transformed back into a killing god among the exotic beasts. At this time, old Tao, who had been unconscious for several days, finally woke up. The first thing he did upon waking was to ask about the battle situation. Since he could wake up, it meant the reinforcements had arrived. The next moment, a large exotic beast corpse fell in front of them, its sheer gravitational pull shaking the ground around them. As they watched in shock, a pair of large feet slowly landed. Seeing Lu Xing appear before them like a god of slaughter, even though both were veterans of many years on the battlefield, they were startled. Lu Xing slowly spoke, "There's a small favor I need your help with." The two men immediately saluted their officer. "Say the word, sir. We're ready for any assignment. Who here knows how to cook?" Meanwhile, at the headquarters of the Eastern 9th Battle Zone, the generals were discussing the casualties and strategies of this battle. Although the double S-class cavern uprising was not man-made, it revealed some issues in the Eastern Military District's oversight and defense of the caverns. The speaker was Yiding Jun, the supreme commander of the Eastern 9th Battle Zone and one of the 4 top generals of the military district. Additionally, the performance of the general stars from our 9th Battle Zone and handling the caverns was quite commendable. I need to schedule a time to talk with them. Is there another major issue we haven't addressed yet? At this point, Yellow Hair spoke up. Line 8 has collapsed, and Feng Bashi from the 833rd Division has just sent a request for reinforcements. Upon hearing this, Yiding Jun slammed the table and burst into anger. Line 8 isn't even a second-level key area, and Feng Bashi has the audacity to ask for reinforcements. Tell him to rebuild the defense line. By tomorrow morning, I either want to hear that Line 8 is secure, or that Feng Bashi has sacrificed himself. In this battle, 12 out of 20 of my direct general stars were sacrificed, along with their troops. These were commanders who not only possessed the strength of a level 7 Grandmaster, but also had substantial military acumen, and they are significant human resources. Look at this document full of red. All emergency areas. Damn cavern uprisings. Yiding Jun's grief deepened, but suddenly he noticed a region that was entirely blue and quickly asked, "Who is leading the 1182 Divisions area?" The man with glasses replied, "It's Major General Yu Fei." According to reports, the 1182nd Division performed exceptionally well, even managing to support the surrounding defense lines, making a significant contribution to the stability of nearby lines. Yu Fei, well done indeed. It's a relief to have at least one area that doesn't worry me. I remember a while back the military recruited a promising Marshal Saint candidate. He was recommended by Yu Fei, wasn't he? What's his name? Lu Xing. I heard that young fellow is quite impressive, a young Grandmaster. At such a young age, he's already stained his hands with the blood of several Grandmasters, even dared to provoke the Extreme Way Dojo. Spirited. After this incident, have Yu Fei come see me. After speaking, Yiding Jun's brows furrowed again. My current biggest concern is this line. It's like a bottleneck enclosing the cavern fissure. But now this bottleneck has broken. Initially, to protect the civilians, we had gathered all our forces to the other side. Now this side has become vulnerable. The collapse on this side was also anticipated. Although Yiding Jun was furious, he immediately pulled up a specific satellite to view the scene. As the screen slowly unfolded, Yiding Jun's eyes widened like bells. The screen showed a vast expanse of tranquility. Where's the promised ravage of exotic exotic beasts. Where are the exotic beasts? After speaking, Yi Dingjun shouted, "Glasses guy, switch the camera, check the situation in other places." The next moment, the screen was piled with countless exotic beast corpses, blood still fresh on the bodies of various powerful exotic beasts. Below the mountain of corpses, there stood a man holding a spear, his body radiating golden light. As the camera zoomed in, Lu Sheng slowly turned around, his gaze fierce, standing tall on the big screen. Seeing this, Yi Dingjun was so shocked one of his eyes nearly went blind, and he hurriedly exclaimed, "Holy shit, no way!" He single-handedly held back the beast surge. "Who is this person? Find him immediately. I want to know everything about him." Meanwhile, in the wilderness, a red-haired woman was chasing and slashing at exotic beasts, having a good day in combat. She had just dealt with a level 6 exotic beast and 3 level 5s. She then reported to the military headquarters through her headset. "Currently, our squad is near Shangyuan village, approaching the collapsed defense line." However, what puzzled her wasn't it said that the defense line collapsed and there was an exotic beast uprising? Where are the exotic beasts? What's with this sudden quiet? After walking around in circles for half the day, she hadn't seen a single exotic beast above level 5. Weren't we told that the front line had already broken? The other two also agreed. This doesn't look like exotic beasts are rampant at all, more like a wilderness. Nothing like the reported collapse of the defense line and exotic beast havoc. Red-haired Zhang Hongyu thought something was strange. A AA mission couldn't possibly be like this. Since the exotic beasts aren't in the wilderness area, they might be concentrated in the city. We can't rule that out. Everyone be careful. If the exotic beasts really are clustering in the city, the density might be far beyond our expectations. Speaking, the group, resigned to their fate, headed towards the city. 2 minutes later, they were dumbfounded again by the continued silence in the city. Out of options, Bald took out a monitor to check for any dangerous presences nearby, but there was no danger within a 500-meter radius. This phenomenon was truly unprecedented. Seriously, where did these ghostly exotic beasts go? Were they eaten? The old city was even quieter than the wilderness. Could they have moved to other defense lines? Zhang Hongyu, however, said that was impossible. If they had really moved, the command would have instructed us earlier. Just yesterday they were still urgently pushing us to provide support. Just then, Team Blue called from a satellite smartwatch. "Yo-ho, you red team or something, clearing out the exotic beasts so quickly. We've been walking in the wilderness for half a day and haven't encountered a single exotic beast." It turned out not only they, but other teams also hadn't encountered any exotic beasts. Shi Ziming suggested that everyone head towards the cavern entrance to see for themselves if there was any problem. Team leader Zhang Hongyu suggested using a drone for reconnaissance first, as heading directly to the cavern was too dangerous. Shi Ziming skillfully controlled the drone through the abandoned city, and just as he was about to enter the central area, unexpectedly still no exotic beasts in sight. The next moment, with a crash, the drone was destroyed. Seeing this, the squad felt something was off and quickly walked towards the front. Meanwhile, Bomb Old Man was angrily yelling, "Fan Shuchan, what have you done? You've shot down the reconnaissance drone of the reinforcement troops. I thought it was some kind of hawk, thinking of adding something special to the meal for that big shot. Alright, since it's been shot down, they will surely come over here anyway. We might as well think about what to cook for that big shot later, considering he has been fighting continuously for several days and nights. This big shot is truly fierce. I wonder when I can be as tough as him." As the reinforcement squad approached, the air thickened with the smell of blood, making them uncomfortable. The next moment, Zhang Hongyu's eyes widened like copper bells. The mountain of exotic beast corpses before them left them dumbfounded. Various level 7 and 6 exotic beasts that they considered powerful were now piled up on the ground like ingredients. Then a voice made Red Hair turn around sharply. "You guys need something?" The scene shifts, and several people were roasting exotic beast meat. From the introduction by the others, Lu Sheng learned that the group before him was an A-level General Star Squad. "So, you were sent by the military headquarters to support the defense line?" "Yes, sir. There were at least a dozen squads that came with us." Zhang Hongyu and his team were on edge, not daring to slack off. After all, given the scene of thousands slaughtered beside them, they believed this dashing figure must surely be a great Grandmaster level powerhouse. To possess such strength at such a young age, the future is promising indeed. "I don't recall ever hearing about an 8th level General Star like this. So you're saying the military will soon send someone to rebuild these places?" However, the meals cooked by these few big heads over the past few days have been much better than the cafeteria at the 1182nd Division. Zhang Hongyu indicated that people were expected to come down within 3 days. Hearing this, Lu Sheng picked up his spear. "Finally, it can end. I've been exhausted these past few days." Just as Lu Sheng was about to leave, Zhang Hongyu spoke up. "May I ask, sir, what is your role?" "I'm a new recruit under Major General Yufei of the 1182nd Division, enlisted not even half a month ago." This revelation sent Zhang Hongyu into shock. A new recruit had single-handedly held an entire berserk defense line. Zhang Hongyu invited Lu Sheng to go to the headquarters together. "With your strength, you could easily be rated as a General Star, and the benefits are much better than those for ordinary soldiers." Lu Sheng thought about it and figured it made sense, especially since since he was indeed short on beast marrow fluid. Seeing that his invitation was likely accepted, Zhang Hongyu was elated. It's the perfect time to make connections. Such a young powerhouse might well be the 8th luminary of the East in time. Soon, Lu Xing followed Zhang Hongyu back to the military headquarters. This area is the General Star Zone, where many General Stars bring their families and friends, gradually turning it into what it is now. Thinking of these things, Lu Xing also started to form some ideas. If I bring my parents here, I won't have to worry about being targeted by that crazy woman Lian Su. As he said this, Lu Xing decided to take a hot shower, given that he smelled awful. Suddenly, Zhang Hongyu blushed and said, since Lu Xing has never been here and has no official status, he doesn't have a place to stay, so you'll have to put up with staying at my place for now. Zhang Hongyu took Lu Xing back to the General Star headquarters, and then home for a bath. However, the first lesson they were taught upon arriving at the military department was, in this era, female martial artists also have a mission, which is to pass on the genes of the strong. That was also her intent for tonight. Tonight, I'll wear this camisole dress. Watch me charm this young kid to death. Meanwhile, Lu Xing had been bathing for 2 hours, yet he felt he couldn't wash off the smell, as if the weak slaughter of exotic beasts had marinated into him. Just then, Zhang Hongyu's seductive voice came from behind. Sir, have you finished washing? Ah, please don't call me sir. Call me Lu. The next moment, Lu Xing's eyes widened like copper bells, as a seductive figure appeared before him. It's hard to say it's not stirring. Lu Xing interrupted Zhang Hongyu's flirtation by preparing to go for the General Star certification. Aren't all those General Star men at the military quite old? As he said this, Lu Xing boldly asked Zhang Hongyu how old she was. Zhang Hongyu said, I don't quite remember clearly. Over 50, almost 60 I guess. I can't quite recall. Holy shit, this nearly scared Lu Xing to death. Seeing such a big reaction from Lu Xing, Zhang Hongyu smirked seductively. Haha, what's wrong, little brother? I guess I'm only about a dozen years older than you. Lu Xing didn't dare to speak the truth, just laughed it off, but he was internally complaining. She's almost old enough to be my mom. Seems like I can only accept someone around Dong Qingshua's age. Ah no, why am I comparing her with Dong Qingxue? Something's not quite right here. Soon, the two arrived at the certification center. Seeing the captain coming, several people showed wicked grins. Look at that, walking so close together. Looks like the captain succeeded. So this is the certification center. It feels quite different from that previous place. At this moment, a scar-faced yellow hair came up to talk. Hongyu, you guys came back so quickly. You must have completed the mission very fast. This young fellow looks new. Is he a new recruit your squad is planning to take in? I do hope he would join us, Zhang Hongyu said, indicating that yellow hair is the captain of another A-level squad, a decent person with good capabilities. In the registration hall here, the General Star certification and evaluations are on the first floor, and the second and third floors are for mission handovers. I would like to certify for General Star status. Please present the relevant documents and a recommendation letter from the military. Lu Xing interrupted. I don't have any of those. Can I just give my name? I'm Lu Xing. The chief commander told me before that everything was prepared, and I just need to report my name. Hearing this, the girl searched reluctantly for a moment, then her mouth dropped open in shock, followed by a 90-degree bow. I'm terribly sorry. It turns out it's you. All these procedures can be waived. Please follow me for the strength assessment. Zhang Hongyu also went in, thinking she hadn't been tested for a long time and wondered how much she had improved. Suddenly, Zhang Hongyu glanced at the girl's document about Lu Xing. Holy shit, 19 years old. My god, so he's such a prodigy. You probably couldn't find a second one like him in all 12 battle zones of the East. No wonder back at home Lu Xing just looked at me a few times. Meanwhile, inside the testing room, a man lifted his fist, as large as a sandbag, gathering force, and instantly dozens of diamonds lit up on the testing platform. The second star had already passed 1/4, indicating his combat power was likely already over 16 million. The squad around him screamed wildly, worthy of being the captain. If that punch hit me, I'd probably shit out a ton. With this rate of improvement, it won't be long before the captain can try to break through the heaven and earth dual bridges and reach the 8th level of Great Grandmaster. If only I were half as strong as the captain. Two of them flattered, making the man almost fly from joy. Breaking through the heaven and earth dual bridges isn't that easy. Just getting through any one of those bridges would probably push the combat power to 30 million. I'm still far off. The next moment, a pair of large feet appeared. Zhang Hongyu explained, because the power of a grandmaster is so strong, even the best materials would shatter the internal components with one punch. So we have to use this synthetic crystal for testing. And because the peak and valley values of grandmaster vital energy and blood fluctuate too much, testing for vital energy and blood has been phased out. We only test combat power now, as it's the best representation of whether vital energy and blood is strong or not. Just then, Lan Tianxi came over to chat. Yo ho, Balian, why didn't you say hello when you arrived? Followed by a lot of blabbering. Hearing this sycophantic speech was exasperating. By the way, Sister Lian, is this new member next to you? This young man is so young, joining the Tiger Scorpion squad at this age. His future is boundless. Zhang Hongyu replied, he's just a friend of mine, not a member of the squad. A friend, so young, and he's taller and more handsome than me. If his power got him in here, he can't can't be much worse off. Damn it, a love rival appears. Is this kid thinking about young grass-eating old cow? Holy shit. Lu Xing was speechless. This guy's old enough to be thinking about nothing but cliched soap opera plots. Annoying much. Old women really do have too many issues. Still, Instructor Dong is better. Holy shit, why am I thinking about Dong Qingxue again? After being speechless for 2 seconds, Lu Xing headed straight for the testing platform, thinking he'd better not bother with such blatant sycophants and just get the certification done. Seeing Lu Xing doing the certification for the first time, Yu Zhahai sneered sarcastically. A little newbie without even a certification. How strong can he be? Hong Yu, your Tiger Scorpion squad is an A-level General Star squad. Why would you even consider someone who hasn't proven his strength in the military area? Mind your own business. Why can't I, an old cow, eat tender grass? Aren't you an old cow chasing me? Aren't you almost 80? Despite Zhang Hongyu's retort making Yu Zhahai stagger. Stop arguing. You'll see soon enough. Let's watch Lu Xing's test. He's not even 20 years old. Zhang Hongyu added. Hearing this, Yu Zhahai was puzzled. Damn, I'm one of the top 10 among the level 7 General Stars in the whole 9th War Zone. How strong can his martial arts be at such a young age? I'm almost 80, but that's prime time. It won't be long before I can attempt to break through the heaven and earth dual bridges, and maybe even reach Great Grandmaster before I'm 150. What's his youth good for? Apart from being handsomer than me, in what way is he better than me? 2 of his subordinates also chimed in with flattery. Captain Hao, our captain is a prime man, hard to find even with a lantern. At this point, unable to listen any further, Bald Chang interrupted. What the hell are you blabbering about? Yu Zhahai and his men looked at Bald Chang puzzled. Bald Chang pointed towards the testing platform. Captain Yu, what if he's not just younger and more handsome? Hearing this, Yu Zhahai exploded. What do you mean? His strength is greater than mine. Are you out of your mind? The next second, with a thunderous noise, Lu Xing displayed astonishing power on the testing platform. The blinding golden light dazzled everyone's eyes. At the same time, the entire room trembled. The military's base was reinforced with special materials and supposedly should not react even under a Grandmaster's assault. On the testing platform in front of Lu Xing, stars rapidly ascended, and under his watch, they reached 12.5 stars. This scene made the nearby testing officer's hormonal balance go awry because the combat power reached 120.4 million, with 12 stars lit, indicating top-tier Great Grandmaster strength. Seeing this, Yu Zhahai was so shocked he bled from his nose, never imagining a youngster could be so terrifying. He even suspected the equipment was malfunctioning. Meanwhile, at the General Star second floor delivery area, a squad was puzzled about the sudden halt of their mission to help rebuild the defense line. Had the line not broken after all, and now clearing operations were no longer needed? This was confusing, and no clear reason was provided. Just then, a rumbling earthquake shook the entire building. An earthquake? How could there be an earthquake at the military district center? The epicenter seems to be coming from downstairs. This has happened before. When General Chen Angxin came to test his combat power years ago, he caused the second floor to tremble like this because the synthetic crystal column used for testing is connected to the building's main axis. If the punching power is strong enough, it can seep into the building structure and cause vibrations. Before others could finish being astonished, a new name climbed to the top of the General Star leaderboard, Lu Xing, ranking first with 12.5 stars in the composite and 8th overall. My god, that's the number 1 in the 9th War Zone. A name I've never heard of. Could this be his first test? This parachuting to the top Lu Xing. Where did he spring from? A combat power of over 100 million. I'm nowhere close to even a fraction of that. It looks like my 9th War Zone is about to have another top-tier Great Grandmaster, already ranked 12th overall even before his merit points have been tallied. Given time, we will surely have another 8th luminary in the East. The yellow hair captain added. The 8th luminary is just a matter of time. Which of the current 7 luminaries of the East has 12.5 stars of combat power? The highest I've seen is 11 stars. He's ranked 8th overall only because he lacks merit points. We might really be seeing a new martial saint from the military. Hearing this, everyone excitedly headed towards the basement, eager to catch a glimpse of this future martial saint. Meanwhile, Lu Xing was a bit perplexed. He had merely casually executed a heavenly grasp, resulting in such an exaggerated effect. But it made sense. After all, even before he had condensed the immortal cells, he could crush a Great Grandmaster with one hand. Though that chief star wasn't a true Great Grandmaster, he couldn't be too weak. He remembered that the Martial Association's minimum combat power for a Great Grandmaster is 20 million, similar to the Grandmaster's threshold of 1 million. So, the weakest Great Grandmaster's combat power far exceeds 20 million, and simply breaking through one bridge could spike it to over 40 million, which shows the profound depth at the 8th level. Immediately, Lu Xing asked the instructor, should we test again? Yet at this moment, the instructor was still trembling. But I haven't really rested recently, so that's about it. That's not the limit. Then what is his limit? After measuring his combat power, Lu Xing walked up to Zhang Hongyu and asked, what should we do next after the test? However, at this moment, Zhang Hongyu's eyes were not hearing what Lu Xing was saying. In Zhang Hongyu's eyes, she was filled with her Prince Charming dream lover until Lu Xing shook her, bringing her back from her reverie. Zhang Hongyu's heart was flooded fluttering wildly, thinking, so this is what being smitten feels like. Zhang Hongyu said that the merit points were still being tallied and suggested that Lu Xing choose a residence. Seeing this, Yu Xiaohai fell to the ground with a thud, exclaiming, this is the power of a top-tier great grandmaster, and here I was thinking about competing with him for a woman. He then began fervently begging Lu Xing for forgiveness, saying that he had spoken out of turn before, and asked Lu Xing to let it go as if it were nothing. Hearing this, his two sidekicks also knelt down and pleaded for mercy. Lu Xing, however, stated that he didn't mind, just be more careful next time. After all, I'm not really competing with him for a woman. Such magnanimity. How could there be a next time? If someone like this held a grudge against you, you'd be done for. Damn, so Zhang Hongyu has latched onto such a powerful leg. I'm so jealous. Just then, Yellow Hair and others pushed open the door and shouted, excuse me, where's Great Grandmaster Lu Xing?